Hello and welcome to this session everyone. My name is Yogesh Mehta. In this quick session, I'm going to demonstrate how you can create your EC2 Windows instance using AWS Console. This session is going to be very basic. So anyone who have basic understanding on AWS Console and how to use Amazon services, he or she can easily create a EC2 Windows instance following these instructions. So let's begin. So first log into your AWS console using the credentials you have. I'm already logged into my AWS Management Console. So first thing we have to do, just go to services, or in dashboard you can see this is the selected service which I recently visited. So I can click here, or if that is not appearing in your desktop, then you can click on services, then compute EC2. Once you click EC2, it is going to take you to EC2 dashboard. Next thing, we have to select the AWS region which is closest to your location. I'm in Sydney, so I'm preferring Sydney region. If you are in, let's say, US, North Virginia, go with North Virginia one. If you are in India, go with Mumbai one. So as I mentioned, I'm in Sydney, I'm going with Sydney region. To create your first instance, you have to click on Launch Instance. Then you have to select your AMI. You can see there are multiple AMIs listed. Amazon Linux, Red Hat, SUSE Linux, then Ubuntu, Microsoft Windows Server 2016. These are different base images which are called AMIs. AMI mean Amazon Machine Image in Amazon terms. So as I mentioned, I'm going to create a Windows Server. And I'm going to use Microsoft Windows Server 2016 base AMI, this one. But if you want some different version of Windows, let's say Windows 2012, you can select this AMI. If you want 2008, you can select this AMI. And please note, every AMI is some cost involved. For example, this AMI is free tier eligible. If I'm using Amazon free tier, which is basically to utilize Amazon services first year for free, like everything is not completely free, but up to some extent services are free. So this AMI is eligible for that particular free tier thing. So for this demo, I'm going to use 2016 Windows Server AMI. I have selected the AMI. Next thing, which instance type I want to choose. You can see with different instance type, there is number of vCPU and memory. I'm going with the T2 extra large, where I will get 4 vCPUs and 16 GB memory. Again, if you are in free tier, or you want to use free tier, go with this particular instance. So then I'm clicking configure instance detail. Here, how many instances I want to create. Right now I want to create only one instance, so one is default. Sport instance is something different where you bid on the cost. So I'm not going to cover in this session. Which particular network you want to use. I'm choosing default VPC, subnet preference, because Amazon got 3 availability zones in Sydney, like 2A, 2B and 2C. Which particular availability zone I want to choose, or if I don't select any zone, Amazon will pick any availability zone. That's fine. Whether this instance get public IP or not, so it's already enabled. Use subnet setting enable, so my instance will get a public IP. If I want to join any domain, so here I can put the domain, because this is going to be Windows instance, it will automatically create a new directory. IAM role, anything associated? Right now nothing. What should be shutdown behavior? Right now it's stop. If I should stop the instance, then what is going to happen? Shall it terminate or stop? So by default it's stop. I'm leaving it to stop. If I select terminate, if you power off your instance, it is going to terminate immediately. Terminate means you can't recover your instance, is completely gone. Enable termination protection is something, let's say by mistake you clicked on terminate. So it will not allow you to terminate the instance until you disable termination protection. This is very good for mission critical kind of instances. Whether you want to use Amazon monitoring, here if you want to use Amazon CloudWatch monitoring, you can select this one, but it will add cost. Right now, I don't want to monitor this instance. This is one of my test instance for demonstration. I'm leaving this option ticked. Tenancy, whether this instance should run on shared hardware or you want to dedicate a hardware. Dedicate mean that hardware will be dedicated to you on which this instance run. I don't want to pay more because Amazon will charge more amount if I select dedicated instance. The next thing is advanced detail. Advanced detail is basically user data which you want to pass. User data is data which you pass in text format, and when your instance boots first time, that data or commands or any script which you mentioned here, that will get executed on your EC2 instance. So I'm not selecting any user data right now. Next thing is add storage. By default, this particular server will get 30 GB drive. You can see this is a snapshot, which is basically AMI is 30 GB. So my root disk is going to get 30 GB. If I want 300 GB, let's say, so I can put 300 here, but right now I don't need that much space. That's demo. If you want to add a second drive, you can add new drive. You can select drive letter. You can put new size. Let's say you want another drive for your application with 20 GB capacity. You can put 20. Which drive type you want to use. These are different drive type. Delete on termination mean if this instance gets deleted, whether this drive should automatically get deleted or not. So if you select this, it is going to be deleted. Encrypted or non-encrypted. Encrypted mean your data will be encrypted using AWS KMS keys. So I don't need additional drive. I'm not selecting this option. Okay, so next thing, add tags. Tag is basically for your host management and multiple different purposes. For example, you can identify your instance with a particular tag name. So let's add a tag. So I'm adding a tag name. I'm saying this is my Windows 2016 demo. This is my server name. I'm adding another tag, owner, saying Yogesh Mehta is owner. And you can add different tags. You can add 50 tags. You can add project center or course center, who is owning, what application is running, who is going to be application contact for this particular server, what application version is running on this server. You can mention multiple things. That's up to you. So for this demo, I have selected 2 tags and now clicking on security group. Guys, security group is something like firewall in your setup. So here you can say on this particular instance what particular ports will be allowed. So there is option, you can select existing security group or you can create a new security group as per your requirements. So I'm going to create a new security group. I want to demonstrate how you can create a security group. So by default, create new security group is selected. I'm going to give it name. I'm going to give it name Windows App Servers. First port, which is by default added, you can see RDP, because to manage this instance, I have to do RDP on this particular instance, or I can use WinRM, and that's another way. But right now, I'm going to use RDP for this demonstration. This is selected, protocol TCP, port number 3389, and from which particular network traffic is accepted. By default, it's custom. I can say anywhere. Or right now, I can say my IP. My IP means this is IP address of my machine, my Windows machine, from where I'm running this particular demo. If you go to a particular network, you can put a particular network here. Let's say you go to your own network, you can put your own network here. So I'm going to go with my IP because I don't want anyone except me to log into this instance. So at least I'm aware from my IP this instance can be accessed using RDP. I'm putting description Yogesh public IP to RDP. Okay, so this is done. I'm going to add another rule. Let's say I want to run HTTP on the server. So I'm going to select HTTP, from where HTTP port can be accessed from anywhere, because my server is going to be host a website and website can be accessed from anywhere. So you can put anywhere. If you want custom network to access your website, you can put custom. So right now I have selected anywhere. I'm saying this rule is web services. Okay, so that looks good. I've added 2 rules. You can add multiple rules. No need to add rules every time you create instance, because this group is created now, means it will be created when I click the next thing. So you can use this particular group again and again, and you can modify this group, security group, as per your requirements. Clicking on review and launch. So now this is the detailed summary, the options I have selected. So storage 30 gig, GP2 tags, we go 2 tags, that's good, everything looks good. So I'm clicking on launch now. When you click on launch, it is asked for key pair. Key pair is basically a public key that Amazon stores at their end as, and a private key file which we store. That's a combination for security purposes to access our server. So if we have keys, then we can access the server. Right now there is no key in my account, so I'm going to create a new key for this particular server. I'm going to say create a new key pair. I'm naming it Windows 2016 app key pair. Okay, and once you put key pair name, you have to download key pair, and that's very important. If you lose this key pair, you will be not able to access your server. I'm clicking on download key pair, so you can see key pair is downloaded. So that's good, and let's click on launch instances now. So we go to an error. Invalid rule description. Valid description are strings less than 256 calendar characters, sorry, and only these are allowed. Okay, it means something I put in rule description that Amazon is not happy with. Let's correct that. Click on back, and it is complaining about security groups, so I'm clicking on edit security groups. So here I believe Amazon is not happy with this particular symbol, so I'm saying to RGB, because that looks good now. Let's click on review and launch, and click on launch now. So because this key pair is already created, that's the reason now it is saying you already have key pair. I acknowledge that I have that PEM file. You can see it is saying you have that PEM file, you acknowledge, because without that it won't allow us to log into instance. Clicking on launch instances now, you can see now everything looks good. This is the instance ID got created. So this is the tag, name tag, you can see Windows 2016 one. This is the instance ID. Instance ID is the unique ID for every instance. In Amazon, every instance has its own ID, so it can't be duplicated. It is unique. T2XLR, it is getting created in AP Southeast 2A. Availability zone, status pending, initializing. So let's refresh quickly. So now it is running. As this is Windows instance, we have to wait for couple of minutes, let's say 3 to 4 minutes, for that instance to come up completely. So I'm pausing that video for a couple of minutes. Okay guys, so seems our instance is running, and okay, now this is Windows Server. We have to get a password for administrator user from Amazon. How we can do that? That's very easy. Select your instance, which is already selected in this case. You can see it's selected. Click on action, then click get Windows password. When you click this option, Amazon will prompt you to either provide key path. Key path is basically the private PEM file which we got, which we downloaded already, or if you don't want to provide that private PEM file path, you can put the content here. So I know I got the key, so I'm going to choose that key which I downloaded earlier. That's in my download folder, and this is the key. You remember we downloaded this key, right? So I'm selecting this key and clicking on open. It will automatically put the key contents, and then you can click on decrypt password. Once you click decrypt password, Amazon is going to give you a password. You can see this is the public DNS. This is the username to connect to instance. This is the password. This whole way. And what's the recommendation? Once you log in first time, you change the password to your desired one, because this is temporary password. So I'm going to copy these three things because these are required to connect to instance to my notepad. So I got everything which is required to connect to this instance. So guys, let's connect to this instances. So open Microsoft remote desktop connection. Here put this particular DNS name, which is public DNS name. It's user to connect administrator. You can click on connect. Now it is prompting password. In password you have to put this password which we just got from the password retrieving screen. Click on OK. Yes. So guys, you can see here we are able to connect to our EC2 instance, EC2 Windows instance. So this is our instance. Let's check a few things quickly. Okay, I'm clicking on my files to see what's Windows OS disk size. You can see we got 30 GB disk. And here now you are admin, you can change your password. You can install any software package you want. You can do the configuration. You can get the server added to AD. You can create users. So whatever you want to configure, up to you. So guys, that's a way to connect to AWS EC2 Windows instance once it has been created. So that's it in this session. Stay tuned for future sessions on Windows EC2 instances. I'm going to go and record a couple of. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Thank you.